JMJC Radio,
news,
sports,
wrestling,
and much more. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 1 of JMJC Radio. I am your host, Jeremy Chaput. First up, we have celebrity deaths. Willia Bethea died January 5th at 85. He played in the CFL for the Hamilton Tiger Cats from 1963 to 1970, helping them win 3 Grey Cups. Jack Squarick died January 5th at 64. He played in the NFL for the LA Raiders from 1982 to 1985, helping them win 1 Super Bowl and the Miami Dolphins in 1986. Marty Amsler died January 4th at 81. He played in the NFL for the Chicago Bears from 1967 to 69 and the Cincinnati Bengals and Green Bay Packers in 1970. Glynis Johns died January 4th at 100. She was best known for playing Winifred Banks in the 1964 classic Mary Poppins. Christian Oliver died January 4th at 51 in a plane crash. He is best known for playing Brian Keller in Saved by the Bell, The New Class. David Soul died January 4th at 80. He was best known for playing Detective Hutch in Starsky and Hutch. Billy Gardner died January 3rd at 96. He played in the MLB for the New York Giants from 1954 to 55, helping them win 1 World Series. He also played for the Baltimore Orioles from 1956 to 59, the Minnesota Twins from 1960 to 61, the New York Yankees from 1961 to 62, helping them win 1 World Series, and the Boston Red Sox from 1962 to 1963. He was also a manager in the MLB for the Minnesota Twins from 1981 to 85 and the Kansas City Royals in 1987. Don Reed died January 3rd at 90. He coached for Portland State from 1968 to 71 and 81 to 85, Oregon from 74 to 76, Oregon Tech from 77 to 80, and Montana from 86 to 95, helping them win 1 NCAA Division I AA championship. Paul Theorold died January 3rd at 73. He coached in the NHL for the Buffalo Sabres from 1996 to 97. He coached in the OHL for the Oshawa Generals from 79 to 80 and 81 to 89, the Erie Otters from 98 to 99, and the Sioux Greyhounds from 78 to 79 and 99 to 2001. Connie Madigan died January 2nd at 89. He played in the NHL for the St. Louis Blues from 72 to 73. Frank Ryan died January 1st at 87 from complications with Alzheimer's. He played in the NFL for the LA Rams from 58 to 61, Cleveland Browns from 62 to 68, and Washington Redskins from 69 to 70. Peter Crombie died January 10th at 71. He was best known as Crazy Joe Davola in Seinfeld. Adan Canto died January 8th at 42 from appendix cancer. He was best known as Sunspot in X-Men Days of Future Past. Wendell Harris died January 7th at 83. He played in the NFL for the Baltimore Colts from 62 to 65 and the New York Giants from 66 to 67. Burke Dales died January 6th at 46. He played in the CFL for the Calgary Stampeders from 05 to 2011, the Edmonton Eskimos from 2012 to 2013, and the Montreal Alouettes in 2013. Bob Gators died January 5th at 85. He played in the NFL for the New York Giants from 61 to 62, the 49ers in 62, and the Broncos in 63. He played in the CFL for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in 1964. Claude Gilbert died January 6th at 91. He coached for the San Diego State from 1973 to 80 and San Jose State from 1984 to 89. Ronald Powell died January 15th at 32. He played in the NFL for the New Orleans Saints in 2014 and the Seattle Seahawks in 2016. Brian Barczyk died January 14th at 54 from pancreatic cancer. He was best known for his YouTube channel where he talked about reptiles and for having the third largest collection of snakes in the world. Norm Snead died January 14th at 84. He played in the NFL for the Redskins from 61 to 63, the Eagles from 64 to 70, the Vikings in 1971, the Giants from 72 to 74, and in 76, and the 49ers from 74 to 75. Glenn Cochran died January 13th at 65 from cancer. He played in the NHL for the Philadelphia Flyers from 80 to 85, the Vancouver Canucks from 85 to 87, the Chicago Blackhawks from 87 to 89, and the Edmonton Oilers from 88 to 89. Billy Hayes died January 12th at 98. He was best known for playing Doug Williams on Days of Our Lives. Bud Harrelson died January 11th at 79 from Alzheimer's. He played in the MLB for the Mets from 65 to 77, helping them win one World Series, and the Phillies from 78 to 79, and the Rangers in 1980. Lynn Marta died January 11th at 78 from cancer. She was best known for playing Lulu Warnicker in Footloose. Dejan Malejovic died January 17th at 46 after a heart attack. He was best known as the assistant coach of the Golden State Warriors since 2021. Moving over to NHL news. The New York Islanders have fired Ray Lambert as head coach and have hired Patrick Waugh. Alexei Poitras has signed a 5-year, $16.875 million contract extension to stay with the Washington Capitals. Minnesota Wild captain Jared Spurgeon is out for the season with an injury. Nick Foligno has signed a 2-year, $9 million contract to stay with the Blackhawks. Connor Bedard is out 6 to 8 weeks after surgery on his broken jaw. The Philadelphia Flyers have traded Cutter Gauthier to the Anaheim Ducks for Jamie Drysdale and a 2025 second-round draft pick. William Nylander has signed an 8-year, $92 million contract extension to stay with the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Los Angeles Kings goalie Phoenix Copley is out for the season after ACL surgery. The St. Louis Blues have signed Nathan Walker to a 2-year, $1.55 million contract extension. Anaheim Duck forward Trevor Zegras and defenseman Pavel Mintyukov are both out at least 6 weeks. Jason Dickinson has signed a 2-year, $4.25 million contract to stay with the Chicago Blackhawks. Shane Pinto has signed a 1-year, $775K contract with the Ottawa Senators. Jim Rutherford has signed a 3-year contract to remain president of hockey operations of the Vancouver Canucks. The Anaheim Ducks' Alex Kilgorn is out 4 to 6 weeks with a knee injury, and Dylan Dubé is on indefinite mental leave. Moving over to NBA news. Erik Spoelstra has signed an 8-year, over $120 million contract to stay head coach of the Miami Heat. Kawhi Leonard has signed a 3-year, $152 million contract to stay with the LA Clippers. Marcus Smart is out at least 6 weeks with a finger injury. Toronto Raptors head coach was fined $25,000 for blasting officials. Detroit Pistons have traded Marvin Bagley III, Isaiah Livers, a 2025 second-round draft pick, and a 2026 second-round draft pick to the Washington Wizards for Danilo Gallinari and Mike Muscala. Desmond Bain is out at least 6 weeks with an ankle sprain. Sacramento Kings head coach Mike Brown has been fined $50,000 for aggressively pursuing a game official during live play and publicly criticizing officials. Ivica Zubac is out at least 4 weeks with a calf strain. The Toronto Raptors have traded Pascal Siakam to the Indiana Pacers in return for Bruce Brown, Kira Lewis Jr., Jordan Nwora, and the 3 first-round picks. The Orlando Magic will retire Shaq's number 32 in a ceremony on February 13th. And finally, Chris Paul is out for 6 weeks with a fractured hand. Moving over to NFL news. The Jaguars have fired defensive coordinator Mike Gladwell along with 7 members of his staff. They have fired running back coach Bernie Parmalee and didn't renew the contract of assistant offensive line coach Todd Washington. The Tennessee Titans have fired head coach Mike Vrabel. The New York Giants and defensive coordinator Don Wink Martindale have mutually agreed to part ways. The Chicago Bears have fired offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, quarterbacks coach Andrew Janelko, wide receivers coach Tyke Tolbert, running backs coach Omar Young, and tight ends coach Tim Zetz. Pete Carroll has agreed to step down as Eagles head coach and will remain on as an advisor. New England Patriots have hired Jared Mayo as their new head coach. The Eagles' Jason Kelce is retiring after 13 seasons. The Browns have fired offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt, running backs coach Stump Mitchell, and tight ends coach T.C. McCartney. The Las Vegas Raiders have hired Antonio Pierce as their new head coach. The Falcons have fired head coach Arthur Smith. The Panthers have fired GM Scott Fitterer, and the Commanders have fired head coach Ron Rivera. Over the weekend in NFL divisional action, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills 27-24. The Detroit Lions beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-23. The San Francisco 49ers beat the Green Bay Packers 24-21. And the Baltimore Ravens beat the Houston Texans 34-10. On Sunday, the 28th in NFL conference action, the Kansas City Chiefs will play the Baltimore Ravens for the AFC Championship at 3 p.m., and the Detroit Lions will play the San Francisco 49ers for the NFC Championship at 6:30 p.m. Yesterday in NBA action, the LA Lakers beat the Portland Trail Blazers 134-110. The Phoenix Suns beat the Indiana Pacers 117-110. The Boston Celtics beat the Houston Rockets 116-107. The Orlando Magic beat the Miami Heat 105-87. The Denver Nuggets beat the Washington Wizards 113-104. The LA Clippers beat the Brooklyn Nets 125-114. Today in NBA action, the Milwaukee Bucks play the Detroit Pistons, the Cleveland Cavaliers play the Orlando Magic, and the San Antonio Spurs play the Philadelphia 76ers. All 3 of those games start at 7. The Memphis Grizzlies play the Toronto Raptors at 7:30. The Charlotte Hornets play the Minnesota Timberwolves at 8. The Celtics play the Mavericks at 8:30. The Bulls play the Suns at 9. And the Hawks play the Kings at 10. Yesterday in NHL action, the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Seattle Kraken 3-1. The New York Rangers beat the Anaheim Ducks 5-2. The New York Islanders beat the Dallas Stars 3-2 in overtime. The Detroit Red Wings beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 2-1. Minnesota Wild beat the Carolina Hurricanes 5-2. and the Ottawa Senators beat the Philadelphia Flyers 5-3. Today in NHL action, we have the Vegas Golden Knights versus the New Jersey Devils and the Winnipeg Jets versus the Bruins at 7 p.m. Both those games start at 7 p.m., I should say. We have the Panthers versus the Predators at 8, the Penguins versus the Yotes at 9, the Blackhawks versus the Canucks at 10, and the Sharks versus the Kings at 10:30. Moving on to sports standings. Here are the current NBA standings. In the Eastern Conference, in first we have the Boston Celtics 33-10 record, the Milwaukee Bucks 29-13, the Philadelphia 76ers 28-13, the Cleveland Cavaliers 25-15, the Knicks 26-17, the Heat 24-19, the Pacers 24-19, the Magic 23-20, the Bulls 21-23, and rounding out the top 10, we have the Hawks at 18-24. In 11th, we have the Nets at 17-25, the Raptors at 16-27, the Hornets at 9-31, the Wizards at 7-35, and the Pistons, my God, are at 4-38. In the Western Conference, in the top 10 in this order, we have the Timberwolves 30-12, the Thunder 29-13, the Nuggets 30-14, the Clippers 27-14, the Pelicans 25-18, the Mavericks 24-18, the Suns 24-18, the Kings 23-18, the LA Lakers and the Utah Jazz both 22-22. And in the bottom 5, we have the Rockets at 20-22, the Warriors at 18-22, the Grizzlies at 15-27, the Trailblazers at 12-30, and by God, the San Antonio Spurs at 8-34. Moving over to NHL standings. First up, we have the Metropolitan. In first, we have the New York Rangers at 29-15-2 with 60 points and a 1-game winning streak. In second, the Philadelphia Flyers with a 25-16-6 record, 56 points, a 2-game losing streak. In third, the Carolina Hurricanes, 25-15-5 record, 55 points, 1-game losing streak. And rounding out the top 4, we have the New York Islanders, 20-15-11 record, 51 points, 1-game winning streak. In fifth, we have the Washington Capitals, 22-16-6, 50 points, 1-game losing streak. In sixth, we have the New Jersey Devils, 23-18-3, 49 points, 1-game losing streak. In seventh, we have the Penguins, 21-16-6 record, 48 points, 1-game losing streak. And in eighth, the Columbus Blue Jackets, 14-22-9, 37 points, 1-game losing streak. Moving over to the Atlantic Division. In first, we have the Boston Bruins with 28-8-9 record, 65 points, 4-game winning streak. The Panthers in second with a 27-14-4 record, 58 points, 4-game losing streak. In third, somehow, the Toronto Maple Leafs, 23-14-8, 54 points, 1-game winning streak. And rounding out the top 4, we have the Detroit Red Wings, 24-17-5 record, 53 points, 1-game winning streak. In fifth, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning, 24-18-5 record, 53 points, 1-game losing streak. In sixth, the Montreal Canadiens, 19-20-7, 45 points, 2-game losing streak. In seventh, somehow, the Buffalo Sabres, 20-22-4 record, 44 points. And in eighth, my surprise with the eighth is the Ottawa Senators, 17-24-1, 35 points, 1-game winning streak. Usually it's Montreal in eighth place. Moving over to the Central Division. In first, we have the Winnipeg Jets, 30-10-4 record, 64 points, 2-game winning streak. The Avalanche 30-14-3 record, 63 points, 1-game winning streak. The Stars 27-13-6 record, 60 points, 1-game losing streak. And rounding out the top four, we have the Predators 25-20-1 record, 51 points, 1-game losing streak. In fifth place, we have the Arizona Coyotes 22-19-3, 47 points, 1-game winning streak. Excuse me. In sixth, we have the St. Louis Blues 22-22 record, 46 points, 1-game winning streak. In seventh, the Minnesota Wild 20-21-5 record, 45 points, 2-game winning streak. And no surprise here, in eighth place, the Chicago Blackhawks 14-32 record, 30 points, 1-game winning streak. And finally, in the Pacific Division, in first place, we have the Canucks with 31-11-4 record, 66 points, 2-game winning streak. In second, the Vegas Golden Knights 27-14-5 record, 59 points, 3-game winning streak. Somehow in third place, the Edmonton Oilers 26-15-1, 53 points, 13-game winning streak. And rounding out the top four, we have the LA Kings 22-13-8 record, 52 points, 1-game winning streak. In fifth, we have Calgary Flames 21-25 record, 47 points, 2-game losing streak. In sixth, the Seattle Kraken 19-18-9 record, 47 points, 4-game losing streak. In seventh, the Anaheim Ducks 15-31 record, 31 points, 3-game losing streak. And no surprise here, in eighth place, we have the San Jose Sharks 11-31-4 record, 26 points, 1-game winning streak. Well, that is all the time I have for today. Thank you for listening. This has been JMJC Radio with your host, Jeremy Chaput. And as my two sayings always go, always shoot your shot before it's too late, and tell your loved ones you love them, because you never know how much time you'll have left with them. Goodbye, everyone. Talk to you next time.